Hello and welcome to the Quarantined Wargamer. I'm Big Lee and today I want to tell you that my dice hate me. My ability to foul a critical roll, to foul a morale check or a supposedly unlosable melee is legendary in Posties Rejects. It's fast becoming a running joke with them. Dice are supposed to be randomisers that give a random set of dice results, but not for me. Somehow I always end up seeing that dreaded number one. So my ability to foul any given dice roll has become something of Posties Reject legend. In fact, the few games I've ever played where you don't use dice, I suddenly perform well. So it just proves that my dice do actually hate me. In over 30 years of gaming, I've heard plenty of horror stories from people who have had their dice let them down. Everything from that critical fumble at the height of an important battle through to rolling to save your leader. In fact, that's an example that I would take. Posty uses a d20 to roll to see if your leader's lost, if the unit is attached to has taken damage. And I have lost far too many leaders over the year who have fallen to the ground with a horrified look in their eyes and the words, "They'll never hit an elephant at this dist," on their lips. So how to deal with this perennial question is a question that probably every gamer has asked at one time or another. Now some people do take things to an extreme, even I will admit that. For example, cleaning the anti-luck particles off your dice by throwing them in the washing machine, setting them on fire or melting them in the oven, freezing them. Now, does that make them icicles or dicicles? Hitting them with a hammer, or public execution. The more rational amongst us will just throw their dice in the bin and buy a new set. The best story I've heard, and this is probably an apocryphal tale because I've heard it repeated online quite a lot over the last 20 or 30 years, and so I have no idea whether it's true, whether it's based on reality, or whether someone just made it up, but it's still a great story. So there's supposedly this mythical gamer who's been playing, and all night his d20 has been consistently rolling ones, and he's decided he's had enough. So at the end of the evening he takes it outside and he douses it in lighter fluid and puts it on his in his backyard, and he gets a golf club with the intention of setting this thing on fire and sending it burning, streaking across his yard. So he hits it with this golf club and the dice shatters, and one piece is left spinning on the ground at his feet. And when it stops spinning, the number one is staring back up at him through the flames. Even in death, that dice had the last laugh. So for a real life example, from my own experience, back when I was still doing heavily into role-playing games, I brought together a group of friends for a Call of Cthulhu role-playing game evening. And everyone turned up in suitable period costume, including my future wife. And we played a 5-hour murder investigation type game that culminated with a battle against a mad scientist and his reanimated creations. Now this scientist had been holed up in the basement of an abandoned building, and the steps down to his lair were slippery and wet. So all the players had to make a saving throw, adjusted for their dexterity and other factors of course. But I managed to roll a 1 when it came to my wife's character, and she slipped down the stairs. I then rolled on the effect table and rolled another 1, so she was left unconscious on the floor of this basement. Now, I should have just ignored the result, I should have fudged it, no one would have known, but no, I had to stick with the result. So the result was that her character spent the culminating battle of this 5-hour game unconscious on the floor. Funnily enough, she wasn't very happy with my umpiring integrity, and she remained pissed off with me for weeks afterwards. I've no idea why. More recently, as people who follow my blog will know, I've been playing quite a lot of games with my youngest daughter, otherwise known as the young Padawan, and I have been consistently losing against her. Now of course I completely blame the dice. My ability to lose in a melee that is crucial to my battle plan, if I had a battle plan, is, I've lost so many games that way, I've lost count, and I do totally blame the dice. Nothing to do with my gaming ability, or the excellent ability of my daughter, of course. So I more than one occasion, the melee or a morale check has been lost to a dreaded 1. Probably my most legendary example of where the dice hate me was a Napoleonic game with the postage rejects. It was the Battle of Howe. Now I was in charge of an entire cavalry division and my cuirassiers were up the front, so I thought I had a good chance against much weaker enemy cavalry. So I charged. And then I managed to lose what should have been an unlosable melee. In fact, I lost by such a huge margin that the cuirassiers immediately routed straight through the cavalry that was following them, and then the whole lot crashed pell-mell through my cavalry reserves, taking them with them. It took less than 2 turns for me to lose the entire cavalry division, and that game has gone down in Postage Rejects legend as an example of how not to handle cavalry. Now, I'm normally a rational bloke, I don't believe in luck and fate and all that, but even I'm starting to believe that I'm cursed when it comes to dice rolling. In fact, it's got to the point now where sometimes when we're at a game at the Rejects, the other players won't touch any dice that I've touched. In fact, I could see a day when they won't let me into the shed unless I'm wearing gloves, or if I bring my own pair of kitchen tongs to touch the dice with. In fact, things have got so bad that I'm convinced that one of these days I'm going to get so angry with my dice, my blood pressure's going to shoot up and I'm going to have a heart attack. So maybe I should change the title of this video to "My Dice Are Trying to Kill Me." Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please consider hitting the like button, consider subscribing to my blog, and of course leave some comments below or over on my blog, Big Lee's Miniature Adventures. So until next week, I hope you all stay safe and stay well, and next week we'll be talking about the much more sensible subject of note keeping. So in the meantime, keep rolling high. No dice were harmed in the making of this video.